Hi, we have already completed this lesson, the French Revolution, and right now it is time to do the exercises which are given at the back of your book. We will start with question number 1, that is, describe the circumstances leading to the outbreak of revolutionary protest in France. What were the circumstances which led to the revolutionary protest in France? So, circumstances, there were many circumstances. We will come to know right now. Circumstances leading to outbreak of protest in France were: first, division of society into states, and plight of third state, especially, that is peasants, which consist of peasant, lower classes, or middle classes and lower classes. Then we had studied about subsistence crisis, where there was food scarcity. Then third is a stronger middle class. Among the third state arose a stronger middle class because of its education and the wealth it was amassing because of trade. Then fourth, radical political ideas of thinkers like Montesquieu, Rousseau and Locke. Then fifth, proposal of states, or meeting of states, general estate, meeting of general estates to increase taxes. And sixth, National Assembly, and final revolt of peasants at the backdrop of famine. So, these were all the circumstances which led to the outbreak of protest in France. First was division of society into states, as we had studied that the French society was divided into third state. The first and second state enjoyed all the privileges, they were exempted from the taxes, but the onus of paying the taxes laid on the third state, which comprised of middle classes and lower classes. They have to pay direct and indirect taxes, and even these upper two states, that is clergy and nobles, they also used to extract taxes from them. So they had their whole income was gone in paying taxes to the state, direct and indirect taxes, and therefore they were not at all satisfied and they broke in revolt. Subsistence crisis, because of increasing population, there was not enough food grains. Production was less and production of food grains was less and population was more. That led to subsistence crisis, means the people did not have the means to live, they did not have basic means to lead a proper life. Then a stronger middle class. Among the third state arose middle classes, which consist of rich merchants and lawyers and advocates who protested against the privileges which were granted to the upper two castes, and because of the ideas of because of the radical political idea of the thinkers which they have read, they came to know about the ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity, which they wanted to bring about in their country by spreading awareness among the people. Then meeting of States Journal to increase taxes. Then the meeting of the States Journal was the discretion to call the meeting of States Journal was in the hand of king, and the king called the meeting of States Journal to increase the taxes, which was not taken by the third state. They wanted that since their number is more, they represented large sections of the society of France, they should be given equal voting rights, means every person should have one vote, which was rejected, and therefore the States Journal declared themselves as National Assembly. They wanted to draft a constitution of their own, where they wanted to limit the powers of the monarch. When all these developments were taking place, the peasants, because of the severe famine and because of the shortage of food, they rose in revolt and destructed the palace of Bastille. That was how the revolution broke about in France and brought about changes. It converted absolute monarchy into a republic. Then second question is, which groups of French society benefited from the revolution? Which groups were forced to relinquish power? Which sections of the society would have been disappointed with the outcome of the revolution? So three parts are there in this second question. Let us discuss this one by one. First part, second question. First part asks, which groups of French society benefited from the revolution? Naturally, clergy and richer members of the third state benefited most was middle class. That is, the richer members of the third state. Then second question, the second part, which sections of the society, which groups were forced to relinquish power? Nobility and clergy were forced to relinquish their powers. Then third part, which sections of the society would have been disappointed with the outcome of the revolution? Poorer sections and women were disappointed. As they thought that whatever they had aspired from the revolution, that was not given to them. They aspired that there would be equality, but equality was not brought about so early. During the rule of the National Assembly also and Directory also, this kind of equality was not granted to all the sections of the society. Describe the legacy of the French Revolution for the peoples of the world during the 19th and 20th century. Third. First was, it gave the ideas, it gave the ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity These ideals were adopted by almost all the nations of the world. Then B, it espoused the cause of masses, whatever they wanted, revolution. Second, it sought to finish absolute monarchy, that is the divine powers of the divine rights of the king, and feudal system and slavery. It abolished the absolute monarchy, feudal system and slavery. Then colonization, feudal system, then it inspired national struggle and therefore abolished colonization in many parts of the world. Even in our country, Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he was inspired by the ideals of liberty, equality and fraternity given in the rose during the French Revolution, and our constitution has also adopted the ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity in its very preamble, that is introduction to the constitution. Preamble is the introduction to the constitution. In its preamble we have adopted the principles which were given during the French Revolution. So first it gave the ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity. It espoused the cause of the masses. It sought to finish absolute monarchy, feudal system and slavery. It inspired national struggle and therefore abolished colonization. Most importantly, it gave the people, it gave declaration of human rights. Declaration of Human Rights, which was adopted by almost all the countries of the world, by almost all the constitutions of the world. In USA in the form of Bill of Rights and in India in the form of Fundamental Rights. Then fourth question is, draw up a list of democratic rights we enjoy today whose origins could be traced to French Revolution. Some of the rights whose origins can be traced to the French Revolution are: henceforth, that is freedom of expression, freedom of speech and expression, speech and expression, right to equality, then right to freedom, then right to assemble and form unions. So all these rights we have adopted or we can trace to the French Revolution. Then the next fifth question is, would you agree with the view that the message of universal right was beset with contradictions? So many provisions were given in this universal rights, but these were beset with contradictions, which were, though they were written, though it was written in the form, but it was not followed in action. So this we have to explain. So many ideas in the declaration had contradictions. This we can say. For example, there is a provision in, if you go through Declaration of Human Rights as given by the French Revolution, you'll see that in one of its provisions say that the law has the right to forbid only actions injurious to society, but it says nothing about the criminal offences. So here is a contradiction that it does not say anything against the criminal offences against other individuals. Then declaration stated, law is the expression of a general will. All citizens have right to participate in its formation. All citizens are equal before law, but still the French society, it did not grant it right to vote. For many years, right to vote was denied to women and the people who did not own property or who did not pay taxes. This political right, because of two reasons, were not granted to the people in the France. So, only those people have the right to vote who were above 25 years of age and who used to pay taxes, and they were only termed as active citizens. Otherwise, the others, they were termed as passive citizens. But when France became a constitutional monarchy, when Jacobean they came to power, they were welcome, but their policies were harsh, and they gave way to yet again and they again gave way to a rule where only wealthier sections of the society ruled. So there were many kind of contradictions in the universal rights which were not at all adopted by the French society. Next is, how would you explain the rise of Napoleon? So, rise of Napoleon came after the fall of Directory in 1796. So, Directory was always in clashes with two legislative councils which were formed after the constitution they framed came into being. So this led to a kind of political instability we had seen. This led to a kind of political instability. Hence Napoleon, he rose to power. Napoleon rose to power as military dictator. He proclaimed himself as the emperor of France. He followed the expansionist policy and tried to bring whole of the Europe under his control. He introduced many changes, but they were just momentarily. Most of his changes were just to expand his expansionist policy. Later on he was finally defeated in the battle of the Waterloo in 1815. So many of his measures that carried the revolutionary ideas of liberty and modern laws to other parts of Europe had an impact on the people long after Napoleon had left. So mainly here the question is, how would you explain the rise of Napoleon? We have to explain the rise of Napoleon. That was mainly after the fall of Directory in 1796. Directory, because it had clashes with the two legislative councils which were framed, formed because of the constitutions framed by the Directory. So these Directory, the people who were in the Directory and the legislative councils, they were always in clashes with each other over some issue or the other. The political instability because of their clashes led to the rise of Napoleon. He considered himself as the modernizer of the Europe. He followed the expansionist policy and became the dictator of he became the dictator and declared himself the emperor of France. This is all under the exercises which are given at the back of your book. I hope by doing these exercises you will have a better understanding of the lesson. Thank you.